Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
We're live. We're live on YouTube.
Shut up.
We're live.
Yeah.
We're freaking live.
We're live on YouTube.
So
What's up, everybody?
After all this?
We're live. We've been live on YouTube.
We've been live.
We've been live on YouTube for about a minute now. All right.
This is
But it looks like the
shit
camera
show.
is only on me. Are we?
Just wait. I'm switching, so you're the only one talking right now. So
Yep. Oh, there he is. There's Mick.
I'm in here too.
There's Mick.
Hey.
All right. So we're live. Hello, everybody.
Wow. Caught me unprepared a little bit here after freaking 40 minutes.
Apologies to the
want
for
me to
the
do the-
technical difficulties here. Gonna be a quick one today.
Yeah, so we were supposed to be live on Gas Digital.
Yep.
Freaking what? 40 minutes ago? 42
Yes,
minutes ago?
42 minutes ago.
Hey, time is money, man.
Time is money, baby.
Time is money.
So let's get right to it. At 6'3", 200 pounds, and every single one of them is a problem. Come on, the Master of Punks, the Tamer of Sages, the King of the Ring, the Great One himself, Big Papa, Daddy Vindaloo.
It's not Vindaloo,
It's
bro.
Vindaloo.
That's an Indian dish.
That's I think why it makes sense.
I don't eat that.
No,
Nah, I don't eat that. You know me, bro.
Go curry Vindaloo.
Nah, that's not even a real thing.
Well, anyway, this is
Curry.
the great one, the greatest one, Mickey Gall. How you doing today?
Thank
Mick?
you, sir.
Yes.
I'm doing very well.
I'm not, but we're gonna power
You're
through.
right. You know what? I was autopilot. That was completely autopilot answer. No, I'm pissed.
Yeah, in the booth we've got the great Ben Castro. How you doing today, Ben?
doing all right, man. Doing all right. Thank you for asking.
And I am, of course, Thicky Smalls, the MC of this great show, Thick and Slick. I am the thick to his slick. It is the funniest man you never heard of, Gerard Michaels. And we have so much cool stuff that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Napoleon Hill a little bit, outwitting the devil. We're going to talk about, is Airbnb done for? We're going to talk about why the youth is disappointing me so much.
We are?
But yes, but before we get into any of that, what about those fights this weekend? This weekend?
What about those fights?
What about words being hard to say?
What about the words coming out of my mouth? What about the mouth noises I make?
Mouth noises.
Yeah, bro.
Jon Bones Jones, the Lord of the Cage, Return of the King.
So I guess we start with that one. We start with
best to
with
ever
Bones.
do it, hands down.
You've been asking me about ring rust.
I may have overestimated the effect.
What'd I tell you
of
about ring rust?
You said it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's fake.
You don't
It's just
think
an excuse?
You think it's an excuse?
I think there's something to it. The more active you are, you can, you know what I mean. You're used to you can definitely, acclimate better by staying regular. But at the same time, like, if you're that guy, you're gonna be that guy. You got to be able to be that guy. The best fighter in the world is the best fighter in the world at 9 a.m., at noon, at night. This month, that month, the next month, a year later. You know what I mean? He's Jon Jones. He's
You
the best.
couldn't create a better fighter in a lab. The size, the length, the wrestling, the stamina,
good, bro.
the striking. And the thing that I think is most impressive, and again, I'm just a normie, so I'd love your perspective on this. I've never seen him in a position where he didn't look like he knew exactly what to do. I've watched the guy fight for, it feels like, 15 years, and he has beaten everybody to the punch.
And although there's nothing I love more than getting Normie's opinions on fighting, because that's my favorite. Like, especially like at the bar this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Love watching with a bunch of civilians.
Yes,
really,
for sure.
Really fucking fun.
It's less fun.
Yeah, you think?
Not a big fan of the bar scene during the fights. I have to be honest. That's
Yeah, man. No, it's interesting. But so here's the thing. Everyone's I guess kind of surprised Jon Jones finished the fight that quickly. Know who else is? Jon Jones.
really.
He didn't plan on finishing that fight that quickly. It's just, you know what it's like, bro? It's like that fight is very akin to a chess match where I saw how hard Jon put him down when he wrestled him, how he flattened him out, put him down. Cyril Gahn didn't want to lose his queen. So he was keeping his back to the fence. Wanted to get up, wanted to disengage, but kept his back to the fence. Didn't want to get Jones on his back all the way on top of him. So he kept using that sit-up little technique with his back against the cage. But what he did was the cage created another kind of lever for Jon. So Jon went to that guillotine. If that cage isn't there, Cyril can go back, defend, do different things.
Yep.
But that cage is there. He stuck himself. He was trying to protect his queen. That bishop kept moving in, and then, the king got hatched.
Yeah.
Snatched.
Things just happen so quick in there, I would imagine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Jon, Jon's game plan wasn't guillotine him round one.
Yeah.
The fight is, and people talk about game plans a lot. You have a game plan, but you take it as you come. If you follow, that path and you're in that right zone and you're in that flow state and everything's working proper, like you'll take it when it comes, and you'll make it. You know what I mean? And that's what happened there. Jon was not expecting this fight to be that short, and neither was anybody else. So I think everyone's saying they were surprised. I'm telling you, Jon was just as surprised as everyone else. You know what I mean? It's nice when it goes that quickly. We don't get paid by the hour. But that, I thought it was going to be a boring early couple rounds. I thought Jon was going to want to more pull Cyril and get Cyril to get a little aggressive to then wrestle. I thought wrestling was going to be Jon's biggest path to victory.
You said that on Friday, yeah.
His wrestling and his his grappling. Like we saw Ngannou wrestle Cyril Gahn, and Jones is a way more high caliber wrestler than Francis.
It was very interesting listening to Jon on Thursday and Friday leading up to the fight, talking about how he just doesn't get the hype. This guy's supposed to be the fastest guy. He's like, I don't see it. He said he doesn't have the stamina. He got tired and he got slow against Ngannou, and Ngannou was not the wrestler. He was so matter of fact in his assessment of who Gahn was, and then he went out and did exactly what he was gonna say. I mean, that's got to be a very powerful feeling to see the guy exactly for who he is, go out and do it, and make the guy look like almost a rank amateur when this is one of the top 3-4 heavyweight fighters in the world.
Well, I think people sleep on Jon Jones' intelligence. Not just like his fight IQ, but I think just he's an intelligent guy. Like I think the crazy stuff and the shenanigans and the getting himself locked up and getting himself in trouble, kind of take away from that. And he's a perfect example of someone who's exceptional in one thing and deficient in other aspects of life. That's the human balance.
Could it be argued part of what makes him great is what makes him susceptible to that? I mean, that kind of idea of, he needs a target, and if there's not a target in front of him, he becomes his own target. Yeah,
I mean, he's definitely his own worst enemy. The only person who ever beat Jon Jones is Jon Jones. Yep. Whether he didn't follow a rule in the cage or didn't follow a rule out on the streets.
That's right. His one loss came from a DQ.
Yes, that he was dominating, had the guy mounted, was dropping elbows.
Is it safe to say that he is not just the greatest MMA fighter of all time? He is now probably the greatest fighter of all time?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. It's hard to. I mean, you got to think about Floyd Mayweather. I kind of think so, because if we're taking a fighter. Like if we're really talking about it, we're talking about
6'5",
right?
230 pounds.
Would Jon Jones beat up Muhammad Ali in a fight? Yes. Would he beat him in a boxing fight though? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Would he go and beat Tyson Fury in a boxing match right now? No. But would he beat the shit out of him in a street fight? For sure. Mm-hmm. So when you say fighter, you're saying like combat sports athlete.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the most decorated.
Yeah. But now there's some Navy SEAL out there. It's like, does Jon Jones know how to use night vision? So define fighter.
Right. Well, if we're using technology, then that could change a lot of things. A gun's the biggest superpower you can have there.
There's some 5'4".
Oh, you want a fighter? There's some nerd who'll snipe him from down the block.
There's a 5'4", 120-pounder that knows how to use.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Which is interesting. As I would have more trepidation with Ryan Montgomery having access to my server than with Jon Jones in a cage for 3 minutes. And I'm being dead. Neither one of them is an ideal situation, right? But I mean, yeah.
Hey guys, are we live?
Yeah, I think we're live, man. But that's so awesome.
Yeah, we are live.
All right,
We are live, boys.
So
Sick.
we got
We have
Shevchenko. That
Omri, you have some of my picks that I made from the podcast
Why-
before it.
Well, yes, I do, Mick. You said that Jones was going to win.
Right.
You said that it's hard to bet against Shevchenko, but that Grasso is a very live dog, and you might want to throw some money on that in case you can make something
Wow, that was
happen.
pretty smart of me to say that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a little bit of a hedge because he still took Shevchenko, but he's like, I can see why you'd take Grasso, and Grasso with the comeback there.
Yeah. And I thought I was very impressed with Grasso's jiu-jitsu, the way she finished it.
Mm-hmm.
She's more known as a boxer, like tough Mexican chick, with good hands,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But she capitalized.
Canelo Grasso over there.
The word was capitalized, bro. Shevchenko threw that spinning kick. She hopped on her back, and that was it.
So we were hanging out at Rashad Evans' bar, hanging out, watching the fights. And what does it feel like for you being a fighter there, listening to everybody screaming at the TV for what Shevchenko should be doing in that situation, and then the apoplectic nature of them with how do you tap from that? She's not even on the neck.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, both of those girls would beat up the whatever guy in that bar probably who was saying that. I mean, people don't. It's the same thing with any other sport. I just think like you take it a little more personal with fighting because it's like a little more extreme.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like in football. What is he doing there? What kind of effort is that? Or what kind of this is that? What
You
kind of
gotta
that?
catch the ball.
Catch the ball. It hit you in the hands.
You're gonna get hit anyway.
Yeah, what are you getting worried about going over the middle? Who cares?
Who cares?
Catch the freaking ball. That's
Yeah.
what we pay you for.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just stupid because it is a lot of like what it really should be is a credit to Grasso.
Yeah.
Grasso did that.
Yep.
Not Shevchenko let this happen. You know what I mean? I promise you, like, she didn't want that to happen. Like, you know what I mean? And I promise you, she knows better than whatever, dork at the bar is saying. I think I'm, as a fighter, I'm more impressed by the person who's, like, watching and, like, really, like, watching and internalize and learning. The guy who's like, this should have been this, and this. I'm like, loser.
So
Insecure. Doesn't know what they're talking about and is front. And it's just like anything else where people talk out of school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's too much of that in the world.
Well, let me ask you, because, I mean, from my perspective, it did look like it was, that it wasn't in deep on the neck. It was across the chin. And I sometimes wonder, and I could be completely wrong, but I sometimes wonder if when people train, it's almost like you talked about chess before. It's like checkmate. All right, I'll tap. You got me. I'm in the position. Tap.
Right.
Foot locks. I'm all right. Tap. But nobody ever really takes it to that point where, like, they get blacked out, or like, I wonder if
Who doesn't?
I don't know if people train all the way to that.
I've been choked out dumb so many times at the gym. Yeah, it actually feels kind of good. You almost like get high. Like you. There's been so many times
restricting blood to the brain
where I've been like choked out, and like right as I'm like about to go out, like I would tap, and I remember just staring up at like the halogen lights or whatever it is, and you're just lying on the ground staring, but like nothing makes sense.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, like why? Like you're just not like I'm just staring, but like I'm like, what am I doing? Like I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm looking at. And then it all comes back, and you just pop right back up, and you're back to business. Say it's not that bad for you. It's not really bad for you either. Getting choked.
Mickey, I have a question about Jon Jones, and this might be a pedantic thing for me. Do you make a distinction between greatest fighter and best fighter? Because I think that it's pretty cut and dry that he is the best fighter we've seen. But in my opinion, greatest has to be as a person. And when you look at greatest, you have to look at what they did outside the cage too. Do you think that's a fair take, or do you think that's wrong?
Yeah, I think it's a fair take. I think it's definitely a fair take. But yeah, you want to, when you look at just like a man in anything, you want to, you could look at someone who did a good job at something, but you also want to know about that man's character, because that, his morals, what he actually does means a lot. So if you look at it that way, and I don't know everybody so well, but if I had to pick a GOAT from that standpoint, probably got to go GSP. That dude's been thorough, humble, kind.
Yeah.
Things that are important to me throughout his career. But yeah, Jon Jones is a BMF, bro.
Yeah, to that point, may not be the best fighter of all time, but one of my favorite fighters of all time for sure will always be George Foreman. Similar to that, just because I like him. You know, he's a knowledgeable guy. He's a funny guy. He seems like a kind of a family man. Plus power puncher. May not be the best fighter of all time.
He named all his kids George.
That's right.
Even the girls like Georgina, Georgette, George, and George.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, I like that.
Houston, Texas. What was it? 44.
I think Kimbo did that too.
Did he?
Yeah. I know Baby Slice, but I think like they're all named like Kevin, Kevina, like
really.
They're all I think so.
Yeah, that's just shit we can't pull off as a white guy.
I'm about to pull that shit off.
Mickey,
Yeah.
Mickey,
Mixter,
Micarella,
Michaela.
There you go. Maybe you can pull it off.
Yeah.
Big night. I think, and we're a little strapped for time, unfortunately. But big night for Killcliff, huh?
Yeah, so we had
Ian Gary,
we had 4 guys fighting each other. We had Esteban fighting Loic, who put on a unbelievable performance. Loic won a decision. Both cool guys early in the card. I told y'all it wasn't a huge take, but I said Ian Gary, maybe mortgage your house on it.
You
almost might have lost the house real quick, but my boy straightened out, got the job done.
Plus 800.
Yeah.
That would have been the upset.
That would have been a tremendous upset. But he found a way, got it done, and then ended it in super impressive, strong fashion. We had Marc-Andre Barriault. He won. Beat Julian Marquez. And we had Brunson fighting Dreykus. And Brunson retired today.
Is that right?
Yeah, Brunson retired. So
wow.
Hats off to Derek Brunson. What an amazing career. Cool dude, good guy. And then Shavkat. So what were my picks, man? Where was I right? Where was I wrong, Omri?
You were wrong about Shevchenko, and other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, I called.
That's about it. You said that you wouldn't. You said that you wouldn't call Derek versus Dreykus.
Yeah,
Dreykus. You said that for you that's a coin flip, but other than that, you took your pick, you took your shot.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. Congratulations, Mickey. Anyone who followed my advice maybe made some money this weekend.
Hopefully they made $1 or $2.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
we gotta start doing more of that. I don't claim I don't claim to be like a great picker of fights. Even if I don't know them, it's hard for me to say, and if I do know them, it's also hard to not be biased.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll do some more picks and stuff. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Give my little expert advice.
Yeah, we'll do them off air like we do everything else.
Yeah, we could do that. It's just nice to be talking to you live. I've started to resign myself that this wasn't happening.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're here.
We got it done.
Yeah. Speaking of, hey, I just got a little text from Catherine Narducci.
I do have a question for you from the chat since it's already been 15 minutes. This came from C Dumps earlier when we were just trying to C Dumps. She was asking about you guys. How long have you been friends? How'd you meet? How did that happen? So yeah, I
got this one, G, and then we'll start getting into some of these things. So, I'm a big like organized crime kind of mafia junkie, and I was watching this interview with Sammy the Bull on Patrick Bet-David's show. And I'm listening to this big dude talk, and he starts talking about it was like around the pandemic time and stuff. He started just talking about the injustices and the wild shit and like the people who are doing things the right way. And I just thought he was talking a lot of power to the people. And I've probably listened to thousands of podcasts. The only person I ever reached out to on one was Big G over here. I just shot him a message, was like, "Yo, bro, keep talking the way you're talking. People need to hear that shit." I think that was like it. Then you hit me back. We became friends, like online friends. And then, we're both Jersey boys. We're both down here in Florida. We linked up down here, went and got Ichiyama. Yeah,
I said he owed me dinner because I bet against him in the CM Punk fight.
Which I don't see how I owe him dinner.
Yeah, he lost me a couple dollars.
You messed up on that one.
That was my cynicism. Going, oh, this is a work.
Yeah.
This is a work.
Yeah, we got to work on that cynicism, bro. We got to bring more positivity in here. You ever heard that study?
We're so positive.
You ever heard that study where
I'm so fucking positive. I'm positive the world's
so
going.
fucking positive.
The world's going. I'm positive the world's going to shit.
Yeah. Did you ever see that study where a dude had 3 plants, and one plant he went over to it and was like, "You suck. You're a stupid plant. You're ugly. You're gross."
Yeah.
Another plant he didn't talk to. Third plant he just said like, "You're a beautiful plant. You're strong. You're healthy.
Yep.
You're happy. You're green. You're beautiful." The one he talked shit to died very quickly. The one he didn't speak to like grew like okay. The one he spoke positivity to flourished, beautiful plant, lived the longest, grew, all that shit. We could conduct our own experiment.
Yeah.
And I hope
and I know that the
listeners-
middle plant's known as the control group. So
Congratulations. You paid attention in science in 5th grade.
this is why I don't trust the science, because I pay attention to science. Science is wrong all the fucking time. That's how it's science.
Well, then do your own science.
Again.
That's stepping it up. All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna buy some house plants.
Yes.
We're gonna cover their ears for most of we're gonna sequester them to their own bedrooms.
You know what we should do? We should put them in different rooms and like just play like Ludovico effect. Just play like Fox News in one room, CNN in the other room, and
see which plant dies the quickest.
Which
plant kills itself.
See which plant jumps out the window first. Oh, look, this plant's going to the window. It must want sun. Oh, it's jumping.
It's
it's
goodbye.
jumping.
It's mushed.
Speaking of, there was a study that was just put out that I found very concerning about people. Now we're talking 2 years on after lockdowns. Whether or not they thought that the lockdowns and the mandates were harsh, too harsh, just right. They thought it was a study tracking the feelings about the government's reaction to COVID across demographics.
Okay.
And it was startling to me that the 18 to 24-year-old group, pull this up if you guys can, the 18 to 24-year-old group did not think the mandates and lockdowns were harsh enough.
They wanted them harsher.
They wanted harsher, stricter mandates. That's concerning to me for a couple of reasons. What are your thoughts on that, first of all?
It's incredibly concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy. They're like, yes, no, control me more. Control me more.
Govern me harder, Daddy.
Govern me harder, Daddy. Yes, exactly.
Govern me harder, Daddy.
Exactly.
Bro.
Crazy. It's crazy. Like, take more of my freedom, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why are you not doing more?
Why am I allowed to walk outside without getting a fucking hall pass?
Yeah, so if they did this 2 years ago, it would almost be excusable because, look, it's youth and they're scared.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's a virus. We have no idea. We have really no context to understand. Like, it's almost excusable. But 2 years on.
I think our youth is a little scared and feeling more powerless from, kind of stemming from 9/11.
What do you mean by that?
Where someone, you know what I mean? Like, someone could just come in here and take a big swipe at, a couple of our buildings, and you know what I mean? It almost can be like a helpless kind of feeling where people don't feel empowered or, as important and special and capable as we are. You know what I mean?
If that's the case, which you may be correct, to the people who feel that way, the 18 to 24-year-olds, let me just ask you one question. Just something to posit, okay?
18-year-olds weren't even alive for 9/11.
That's right. But if terrorism...
This is 18 to 24 specifically?
18 to 24-year-old, the 24 to 39 was the next demographic. They were
that's that group.
25 to 49.
Yeah, they were they thought it was the mandates were okay, which again drives me out of my mind that 2 years on, everybody isn't sitting here going, no.
Maybe they were just
this
like
is bullshit.
You think maybe they were afraid they were going to get in trouble if they said otherwise?
If that's the case, doesn't that say even more?
Yeah. No, I'm saying regardless of the problem, but here I could say one thing to the counterpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they believed it hook, line, and sinker about stop the spread.
Yeah.
And they were like, if those 2 weeks there was armed guards outside everyone's house and everyone was forced to stay in their house,
Okay.
maybe it would have nipped it. Even though that's not, realistic.
So if that's the case, okay, we have evidence of zero tolerance policies in both Australia and China, and they did not work.
Didn't work.
And this is the biggest problem to me, is that this is 2 years on. The information is out there to be objective that Sweden, that did almost nothing, did it correctly.
Right.
Florida,
Natural immunity,
that
all
did
that
almost
shit.
nothing,
Yeah.
did it correctly. And the numbers are the numbers are there. For people that have been screaming at us to trust the science for 2 years, there's data available to them. So what I'm concerned about is twofold. One, where's the rebellious youth? The youth is addicted to authority now? What the fuck is that about?
So lame.
That's fucking lame.
So lame.
Like, get out there and fucking go smoke a fucking cigarette under the bleachers with a babe, for Christ's sake, you fucking nerds. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, beyond that, all right, the data's there. This to me is indelible proof of that the indoctrination is working. When I come in and I talk about propaganda and awareness and why we got to talk about this shit, that's why. Because there's 18 to 24-year-olds that may be Mickey Gall fucking fans. And we need to tell them, yo, you're being fucking lied to, my guy.
They really don't know that. They really can't tell they're being lied to.
According to this, an overwhelming majority of them thought that the lockdowns did not go hard enough.
Is it that their heads in the sand, or they're just like they're just rule followers?
I think that the media is intensely focused on convincing them. If you go on Snapchat, the news is nothing but pro big government elite leftist propaganda. And CNN just came out today, and they're all trying to get ahead. They could feel the noose tightening a little bit, so they're starting to throw people to the wolves. Fauci's starting to get thrown to the wolves a little bit. New York Post ran an article that said Fauci knew that it came from a lab leak, and here's some emails that leaked. People are starting to leak emails. CNN head, the ex-CNN head, Jeff Zucker, told the CNN anchors not to run with the Wuhan lab leak story because it was a Trump talking point. And the anchors are starting to say, like, hey, we knew that this was dumb, and that, you know, that eating a bat couldn't have done it, but our boss. So that you're starting to see it a little bit, where they're starting to
come
push
apart a little bit.
They're starting to push some people to the middle and be like, hey, sacrifice this guy. It wasn't me. I was just following orders, right? That's always that's actually known as the good German fallacy. The good German. Wow,
back to
I wasn't the Nazi. But they were in charge. I was following orders.
They didn't do it, but they didn't do anything about it.
So the youth being,
I was just following orders by reporting my Jewish neighbor. Yeah. Crazy.
I was just following orders. You know, hey, and that's America too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. People calling the cops on people who are outside. You know what I mean? During these lockdowns.
Alone.
People in the ocean.
The ocean.
Wild.
And you go out.
They're out there being a spreader. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, it's insane.
Fuck out of here.
So for people 18 to 24, I just want to say this. And again, you're going to keep me from having my diatribe because we're up against the clock today. But guys, please, I beg you, okay? Diversify your media diet. Mm-hmm. Diversify where you're receiving your information from. That's number one. If you get it, if everybody's saying the same things in the same way, red flags should go off and say, I gotta hear what the other side's saying.
How about back to our Napoleon Hill book? Think for yourselves.
Think for yourself.
Have your own thoughts.
And guys, authority is not your friend. Trust me when I say this. Authority is there to perpetuate authority. All right? And if you're a rule follower, consider this. You may think you're a good guy for following the rules. 200 years ago,
you're not.
Slavery was legal. Freeing a slave was not. If you freed a slave and helped them escape to the north, you were a federal criminal. Legality is not morality.
Right.
Okay? Very, 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 and very, very important for our young listeners to hear this and kind of understand where I'm coming from here. More government is almost never the answer, guys. And you're getting bombarded with pro-government propaganda non-stop. Non-stop, you're getting bombarded with pro-government propaganda. And it's on late night. It's in your comedy shows. It's so much that this is the comedians they will let you listen to. There's so many funny comedians. They won't let Shane Gillis on Saturday Night Live. He was good enough.
He made fun of Asian people.
Apparently, 5 years ago, says a blogger in San Francisco.
Which reminds me, redact all of the next few episodes that you made.
Marcelo Hernandez, who I worked with at Valuetainment, knew on Saturday Night Live. Very funny guy. Made his whole career making fun of white people. No, even though he's less pigmented than me, he's got less melanin than anybody, and he does a whole thing about I'm one of those white passing Latinos. Yeah, that's okay.
What's his beef with old Whitey?
That's what I'm saying. You know, and the idea that he
There's
had
some
to like
stuff to beef with us about.
Sure, there's some stuff to beef with. You know,
There's stuff.
Who colonized more than the Spanish?
That's a good point.
Fucking Ocasio-Cortez?
Yeah.
She's a direct descendant of Hernan Cortez?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Name me Ben Castro. Name me one Irish colony. I will give you $1,000 fucking dollars right now. Name me one colony from Ireland.
You know, it's funny.
$1,000.
You mentioned this last week, and I looked it up, and I believe there's one called the Mulroonist colony.
No. We were colonized. That's Northern Ireland, which is a proxy of the United Kingdom.
There wasn't any in Jamaica?
No.
Let's see. That Jamaica, that was English?
Jamaica?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also a pirate colony as well. The point I'm trying to make here,
I was trying to get you $1,000, buddy, but sorry, I couldn't pull up anything in time.
and on top of all this bullshit, they got you thinking AOC Cortez, the direct descendant of a fucking colonizer herself, Jenny from the block, she's one of the good guys. She's fighting the good fight against the rich. Nope. Corrupt as shit. Took money.
What? A corrupt politician?
Corrupt as shit. She wore that tax the rich dress at the Met Gala, and it turned out
Then they got to tax each other, because we were just talking about how much Pelosi's worth.
Pelosi and McConnell.
Pelosi, all right, so the two kind of polarizing heads of the Democratic and Republican Senate.
Well, the senator is McConnell.
Or Congress.
The senator is McConnell, and Pelosi's Congress. Yeah.
Right. So Pelosi, her salary
Yep.
is $193,000 a year.
Good money.
Know what her net worth is?
Do I know her and her husband are incredible investors?
$196 million.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she like 10x. She must be good at investments, bro. She should be teaching classes.
Bro.
And then Mitch McConnell, same salary, $193,000, $54 million.
That's 100x, by the way, I think.
Yeah.
If my math is correct.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. 100%. 100x.
That's good investing.
That's some.
That's
she got a
some solid
I
investing.
would like to be connected with her Wolf
Yeah.
of Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
What would that be? Her investor?
Yeah. Bernie Madoff is sitting here going, for real? I'm in jail?
Yeah.
I'm the one in jail?
He dead.
His problem, you know what Bernie Madoff did wrong?
Dying?
He didn't run for office.
Right. Oh, he would have been protected.
There you go.
Yeah.
And McConnell's worth how much?
54 mil.
Not as good.
Not as good.
Pretty good. On $200,000 a year salary.
Yeah, just under.
Pretty good.
Wild, right?
Pretty good.
Wonder what that's about. Wonder if there's a lot of money in politics.
You think there might be some money?
that make things happen, like make you, have to get forced pharmaceuticals, right? Didn't that happen?
Yeah.
Forced pharmaceuticals.
Oh, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
companies probably made a lot of money off that.
Not only did they make money off of that, but they took taxpayer money to invent those pharmaceuticals, then sold them back to the taxpayers at a profit
I'll be gosh darned.
during a pandemic.
I'll be GD.
How about that? Hey, how about the fact that these war machines are publicly traded companies?
Wow.
So they take taxpayer
It almost
money.
seems like there'd be incentive to go to war.
No, they would never do that. These are the good guys.
I mean, I'm just, I make up.
the TV told me this is the good guy.
Oh.
And the people that don't want to
Well,
go to
the
war are
TV
the
said
bad
it.
guys. The people who don't want to go to war are the Nazis, which is weird because if I know anything about Nazis, they seem to really like war. But now the people who don't want to go to war, those are Nazis.
Right.
So I must be a dummy.
Yeah, I find myself conflicted on this show because I think the war, or like the fear mongering and trying to make people scared is like one of the worst things that the media and everybody does. And I almost feel like we do that about the media and the people who are doing that. So it's almost like, you know what I mean? It's like they're trying to make you scared, but we might be making you scared of what they're doing that you don't know about. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I totally see your point, but I disagree with it because I think that we're speaking truth to power.
I agree.
They're
And I'm all
bullying
about power to the people.
They're bullying people and trying to manipulate them, and all we're doing is trying to show them that, hey, it's the wizard behind the curtain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to go to war, and because if this thing keeps going left, it's gonna be American boots on the ground. And again, we just have the ability to know a little bit more.
When you say
we're
going
a little
left, you mean like shit's going sideways?
Sideways.
Or speaking actually of the left versus the right. Okay.
In this case, both work.
Kind of, it's a pun.
In this case, both work.
Yeah.
You know, they don't give a shit about us, people. They don't care about us. You know how many people they'd be willing to kill in cold fucking blood to keep their power? They don't care about us. This idea that government cares, get out of here. Come on, care about yourself. Care about your neighbor.
We gotta care though.
We gotta
care about us.
You gotta care.
You gotta care about your people.
Yes.
That's what real alphas do.
Yeah, and also, hey, shout out to your boys who you brought on, Ryan Montgomery and Scrappy.
Yeah,
because they're not waiting. They're not waiting for daddy government to save them. They're saving kids. Now people don't
100%, bro. Yeah, they're stepping up, and people are calling them vigilantes. People are like, you got to let the thing do its work. You're actually hurting. This is fruit of the poison tree. Blah blah blah. Fuck all that. BS.
Fuck all that. If they would have stopped this guy 6 months earlier, how many kids could they have saved?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're being the change they want to see.
There's legal and illegal, which I understand. I'm not an anarchist. We need to fucking have some sort of law and order. But there's right and wrong also.
Right.
And we need to have a moral compass that's based on right and wrong, not legal or illegal, and definitely not left or right. Definitely not partisan or not. Because, I mean, that's insanity. What we're allowing happen where every single issue can get pushed into one camp or the other is that's the ultimate manipulation. And government and corporations have been able to hide behind this idea that if you disagree with us, it's racist. Okay, fuck you.
Now, don't you think that book we're both consuming is kind of speaks to a lot of this?
It's actually helped me a little bit.
It's called Outwitting the Devil.
That's right. And what's interesting,
which is by Napoleon Hill, the same guy who wrote one of my favorites, Think and Grow Rich.
And what's interesting about it is it's 100 years old.
Yeah, just about, right?
It's 100 years old, and it's in between the First World War and the Second World War. And so many of the topics he discusses are pertinent to today.
So pertinent.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
Talking about media deception, manipulation, being able to think for yourself. What are your thoughts on Outwitting the Devil? Which is, speaking of the aforementioned Patrick Bet-David, it's one of his favorite books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Well, first I want to say just about Napoleon Hill in general. The ideas that are presented in Think and Grow Rich in 3 chapters, I got more out of that than I got out of 3 sports psychologists, mental coaches, like mentalists, whatever. You know what I mean? I got more out of the first 3 chapters than I did out of people trying to decipher it. So that's a book you can pick up, you can listen to or read it. Really good.
If you had to describe it in one sentence, what is Think and Grow Rich?
Your thoughts are powerful beyond your comprehension, and that if you believe, have a definitive purpose, and you believe and you take necessary steps, willing to do what it takes, and sacrifice towards that purpose, the universe will help connect those vibrations. And so if you, it's like that, one of the things is like, if you have a set amount of money you want, I need $1 million in 6 months, and you are taking plannable action towards that, and you even put yourself in that so much that you can picture yourself like having that, and you could feel like you have that, the universe will connect and will correct that and make it so. It's hard for your brain. Like, again, I always talk about the power of the brain. We talk about it with the lady picking up a car.
Sure.
And there's so much untapped potential in there, and that, I think that I don't know if that was more than one sentence, but there's a lot to it. There's so many there's so many bits of gold and gems in that book. But now, without Winning the Devil, they talk a lot about drifters versus non-drifters.
Yep.
They say 100 out of 100 people, 98 are drifters, which means...
Let me stop you there. Just for people that have not read the book, and if you want to read the book, it is... it's in the setting where a journalist has been granted an interview with the devil, where the devil will answer all of the questions that he posits accurately and honestly.
Right.
So the book itself is written as a conversation or like a 60-minute interview between a journalist, Napoleon Hill, and the devil.
Yeah.
And the idea is, how can a person obviously outwit the devil? How does a person
not fall into the traps that the devil lays?
Correct.
Right. And some of those traps could be, the pleasures of this world, falling into and just kind of following those and not having your definitive purpose and not having your thoughts, not having your own original thought, just being like a rule follower, kind of just taking things as they are and just going along and just going through the motions.
Which is interesting. That was an interesting perspective because he has kind of an anti-religious perspective in the book, but he keeps going back to like the 7 deadly sins of gluttony, avarice, lust. Lust. Yep. Very interesting juxtaposition. So it's clear Napoleon Hill has a very what would be the right word here? Complicated relationship with religion, which I, as somebody that does myself, I find myself constantly searching for God or proof of God, or I want to believe, but I'm agnostic because I don't adhere to any religion.
And that's one of the things that they say in this book is that, like, forget about, everyone thinks, and the devil in this says that religion helps him. Right, yes, he likes to be referred to as His Majesty. That religion helps him because people are just basically going through the motions
and
trying
behind it,
and because they're worried about what happens when they die.
Yeah,
when really the devil is operating here on earth.
Yep,
you know what I mean, through
I'm a good guy.
His tactics.
And
yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah. I'm a good guy. Yeah, and.
But I would say a big part of that is having the power of independent thought backed by definitive purpose. That is, and people who resist, have discipline, resist the temptations, and follow their own path for their own unique self to do good in the world. Because you got to give to get, right? So if you're living that way, you're going to be one of the non-drifters. And if you are falling into that drifting thing, there's that, I forget what they call it, like hypnotic motion where it perpetuates itself. You stay in that cycle.
You stay in that cycle until you break the cycle.
But you can break yourself out of the cycle.
Yeah.
You can break out. You can break out today. Yep.
It's he used the example of just changing a melody and you change a whole song, change the beat and you change the whole song. It's very big on vibration. So
you had issue with a few things that he said.
I do. I think of Napoleon. So I like a lot of what he's saying.
Right.
I found the ex machina of the devil to get old after a while, and I thought it's very repetitive in nature,
very much so.
And
I think that's purposeful, though.
He admits it's purposeful.
It's trying to beat the important stuff into your brain.
I have a very
Didn't you think he was an apologist for the robber barons? Isn't that what you said to me?
I did. I think.
You know why?
I don't know.
Well, he was basically he was commissioned. Napoleon Hill, his own kind of stories. He was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie to interview and spend time and go travel on his dime. Who Carnegie's considered a robber baron, along with the J.P. Morgans and all these different guys. He commissioned Hill to go around the world, meet with these guys, converse with them, and to create a book that can give, and it took over 20 years to compose this book, to interview them and grab, pieces of them and what they're doing and why they were able to achieve success and different things like that. And to be able to share this with future generations so that more people can be capable of this. Don't just go through the motions of life. Actually take life by the balls and, go and, live their best life and do the most that they're capable of. So I'm not surprised that he's, necessarily an apologist for these guys because these are the people he learned from. These are the people who funded him, commissioned him. You know, this is where he gained a lot of his information. So I get why he would have an admiration.
So it's interesting because I see the battle between capitalism and communism as a religious battle, not a political battle. We have it in a political arena, but it's a religious battle. The capitalist, the free market person, they have this idea of human nature, and the communist socialist has this idea that they could evolve human nature, and that this is the way it is, but that doesn't mean it has to be this way. And it's kind of this eternal battle, and it's really theoretical, and in application, both when they get to their extremes are very bad. And the robber baron era was very bad for people. What I kind of disagree with, and that
was kind of during like where they had to set up a lot of like monopolization
and took
laws
Teddy
and
Roosevelt
rules.
to break a lot of these because this idea of like, hey, so this is the idea.
What's the definition of a robber baron, just for people who?
So a robber baron is a derogatory term that people would use for these ultra capitalists who would vertically integrate entire things. So like, look, John D. Rockefeller didn't just have oil; he owned the railways that brought the oil, and then he owned the steel that made the railways. So like, there's no way you.
Then he used leveraged that money and bought all the oil.
And then he bought the politicians.
No one else to get
to give back to society, he opened schools and colleges and housing. And oh, by the way, we're going to teach everybody that Standard Oil is right and that Manifest Destiny is good, and that all those brown people in the Middle East, they're not using that oil out of the ground correctly. We got to go help them. And so there's something to be said for the investment that they made, and I think the Industrial Revolution is a good thing overall, but it's not. Again, like we always talk about,
perfect.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
And this idea of, just because they're wrong makes Marx right is a really big problem that we're having in college today, where these guys are saying, oh, look at the evils of capitalism. And, like the indigenous community is one of these things that it's like, all these rich white people sit there and say, let's just go back to the way it was with the Indians before the West conquered everybody. And it's like the West invented evil somehow. Like there wasn't any warring between natives. Like they weren't sacrificing children to the sun god. Like it, this idea
there's flaws
everything was
all
a
throughout history.
We're drum circle all throughout the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly. It's not black and white.
No,
there's good people in all, and there's bad people in all.
Yes,
all walks.
And I think that's my big takeaway from the Napoleon Hill stuff is I don't like the manipulation. He's definitely a salesman. I don't like being talked to like I'm a child and like.
What's he trying to sell you?
He's trying to sell you his worldview. And there's not necessarily a bad thing. Not every salesman is selling something bad, all right? But I am being sold. And when I feel like I'm being sold, my antennas go up a little bit. And I start listening a little bit harder. And, he's pushing people towards what I don't like about Napoleon Hill and the people who are like Napoleon Hill is this idea that everything is under your control and to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Listen, man. Yes and no, okay? In a world, because things like that, when people are like, hey, you're just not trying hard enough, then it obfuscates from the fact that credit score exists, right? And this is where the Occupy Wall Street stuff was right, and I also think they were bought because we went through 2 years of social justice. We went through this social justice awakening. The word, equality went away and equity came in, and nobody noticed that difference. Equity means you need to pay me something. I'm invested in this. Give me some money. Equality is everybody's the same. Equity is I deserve more than other people, right? If you have equality, we are equality. If you have equity, you have ownership in a company.
Right.
So that word was switched in there. Never once in all of this social reckoning was the word credit score ever mentioned. Did you ever hear anybody talking about credit score ever? Credit score is the number one determinant of wealth today. The number one determinant is your access to credit. It's not how hard you can work. There's only 24 hours in a day. It's not how smart you are. It's your access to credit.
So from what you're saying there, again, you know me, very solution based.
Yep.
You got to take care of your own credit. That's something. That's an action you can take.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because the system.
And also, when you said about the picking yourself up by the bootstraps, yes, it's not like everyone could just pull themselves up, and all of a sudden they're going to be, an Andrew Carnegie and have, 500 million, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you can always maybe apply yourself a little more.
Sure. You can absolutely improve your stead.
And that's what I think at the bare minimum is his main purpose in these books. And that's why I like it.
I like it too. And I think for someone in your position where in your world you can control a lot of your destiny. In other people's world, there's two things that I think there are caveats that I would like to think. I think it's good and I think it's overall positive. But there are two things. Sometimes, one, you are a victim of circumstance. And you need to address that before you can even, I'm just not working hard enough. You can work as hard as you want. If you're in the wrong situation with the wrong boss, you're not getting the
right.
You're not getting the raise.
And that's one of the things I find interesting about Napoleon Hill, because in both books he mentions how it's not always about just working so hard. That certain things if you have the proper mind state and are doing certain things, you can get into that hypnotic. What was it called again? The
cycle.
The cycle. We'll call it the cycle.
The cycle.
You can get into that good cycle, and you can start making things happen by doing less.
Yeah. I agree. I think the other thing is this idea of purpose.
Purpose. I think purpose is tremendous.
Not everybody has it, and nobody knows how to find it.
Then you got to find it. Go take some mushrooms and dive in the ocean. And
do not do that. That is not medical advice. Do not do that. He was joking, and he talked about shiitake mushrooms, and at least wait a half hour before swimming.
Right. Yeah. That's always the rule. You got to wait before you don't want to cramp.
Yeah. You don't want to cramp.
I go maybe lay in a field after some shiitakes and watch the trees breathe.
I think it's very important for people to find their purpose, but I think that has to happen organically. I mean, what I wanted to do my entire life is something that, at 25 wasn't really an option anymore. And then you got to refine another purpose, and it doesn't come to you right away. And no matter how much meditation I did, praying on it I can do, no matter how much going to the desert, it has to happen organically. And there's something to drifting a little bit. And man, I would love to talk to Jordan Peterson about this. This would be like, because Jordan Peterson is very similar in this regard of like, hey, Find what this is your job. This is your job, man. Find what it is that you need to do in this world and do it.
Sounds a little Irish.
Yeah,
he's got a little touch of the Irish.
I can't do the Newfie the Newfie accent there, but he's very big on, hey, find what it is you should be doing and get after it.
Right.
Get up, make your bed. Small wins every day. The disciplined life. But then there's Alan Watts. And Jordan Peterson is very important to me. I think in many ways Jordan Peterson helped save my life. But too much.
When's he coming on the pod?
I would love to have him on. But too much of him, he leaves you unbalanced. Okay. And then I listen to Alan Watts.
Now, Alan Watts he's a manifester.
Alan Watts basically put a white face on Buddhism.
Right.
He basically took Eastern ideologies, some Hindu, some Buddhism, some Taoist stuff, and would explain it in Oxford in a very hippie way, very fun and jovial way of speaking. And his whole thing was, none of this is important. What are you getting up and making your bed for? Like, we're all dying.
It sounds like nihilism.
No, it's the opposite of nihilism. It's everything's important that brings you joy. You should be doing everything you could possibly do to find joy. Life should be about play. That's his very big thing is, understand that life is about play. Life is about joy. Joy in and of itself is a purpose. Joy in and of itself is something worth attaining. Mm-hmm. And you have those kind of yin and yang ideas where discipline creates joy.
I think through purpose is where you find the most joy.
Maybe. But that doesn't mean, like, you have a very clear purpose. You have a very clear set, and that's...
You think I'm kind of projecting and being kind of one-track minded?
No, I just think that works for you. And I think that what you are is a good guy, and you're like, this works for me. I'm happy doing this. If you did things the way I did, no matter how hard they are, you'd be happy too. And I think that for a lot of people is
happier
good.
than drifting. Yeah.
And I think for other people, that drifting is part of the purpose. I think for some people, there's nothing wrong with going to the woods and living deliberately for 5 years, 6 years. There's nothing wrong with, going places you've never been with people that you're never going to see and enjoying the world and learning who you are and who you want to be. You're not the same person at 25 you were at 17, and the idea that you want to get locked in to a career you're going to spend the next 40 years at when you're 17 is nonsensical.
That's the other thing too, is like you could be doing one thing while also doing something else that actually you're truly attracted to, that you truly believe in. You know what I mean? If you're doing a job that maybe you don't like so much, you can do that job, and you can also apply yourself towards whatever else, what you really want.
I agree. I guess what I'm saying is more semantic, where, man, it's okay to drift.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
okay.
I mean, I'd be lying to say I didn't drift at all at times.
But also,
we all even the non-drifters have drift moments.
Yep.
And there's times where you need to like find yourself, and it doesn't need to be go productive all the time. There's times you got to have a mental reset, and you got to have it's your time where you pull back.
Well, that being said, as the great Mickey Gall always says, everyone's a hypocrite. What have I been talking about the whole last week? I've been fucking drifting.
Yeah.
I got to lock in.
Yeah.
I haven't been getting the shit done I need to get done. I've been out here,
But just because you drift doesn't mean you're a drifter.
Fair enough.
Right.
What do the comments say about this, guys?
Okay, first of all, there's one thing I wanted to tell Mickey, is that what you described is very close to nihilism. Before, when you were like, there is no purpose, there is a purpose.
I didn't describe that. You mean Gerard?
No, you did. You talked about that sounds like nihilism.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just want to say that personally, I am a nihilist. And part of being a nihilist is that is nihilism. It's just understanding that there is no purpose. And for that reason, anything that I want to be doing is my purpose. There's nothing set in stone that I should do it in a certain way. I should do what that's nihilism. That's nihilism.
I want to give a huge shout out also to Stephanie Wire and Ricky Ricardo for keeping the chat live. C-Dumps, Stephanie Wire, thank you guys so much for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. Y'all are awesome, man. But
Stephanie Wire, by the way, had an interesting question earlier. Do you think that religions ever really disappear, or that they just evolve into a new version of themselves?
That's a great question.
Oh, hold on. I want to go back to this nihilism thing because
table that, Omri. That's a great question.
The understanding I have, and the definition right here, is the rejection of all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless.
So I think
meaningless.
So I think the word meaningless has negative connotations, where sometimes it could just mean like there's no negative meaning either. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no positive meaning and there's no negative meaning. So,
but I think if you're not taking enough stock in your life, if you think that, I think we have biological purpose. There's so much purpose in us, and if you're not feeling any type of purpose, you might need to reassess, because not only if you don't feel a purpose to want to be good to other people, you don't want to uplift your community and the world you're living in at large, then it's probably gonna feel pretty meaningless.
I dig it, but do you need a purpose to be a good person? Do you need a purpose to be nice?
That is a purpose.
So being nice in and of itself is a purpose. You're going to wake up and be purposeful and be a positive influence in my environment.
Yes.
I can dig that.
Yes, 100%.
I can dig that.
What part of nihilism is that are you subscribing to?
I subscribe to the nihilism put forth by Albert Camus. That's my guy. And that's
hold on, guys. We're about to have the most giant, ridiculous fake boobs walk across my screen. If you guys make sure, did we get them?
Wow,
did we get them?
That looks like an infection.
Did we get them? Did we not get them, Ben?
I got the lower.
Those
half.
are got to be E cups or something. That looked like a staph infection. Anyway, go ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead, Omri.
So about the meaning of life. It's just the way that nihilists define purpose and meaning is that in a religious sense, you are put on this earth for a reason, to serve a purpose. There's something that you need to be doing, right? You have a fate, you have a destiny, you have a whatever. In nihilism, what we look at is you can do whatever you want to do. No one's looking over your shoulder to make sure that you're being a good guy. No one is going to tell you what to do. You need to make those decisions for yourself. Do you want to be an asshole? Most people would say, no, I don't want to be an asshole. That's not fun for me. That makes me feel bad about myself. And if you are given the freedom to be whatever you want to be, most people will be just like pretty regular, understanding good people.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe most people are good people.
And I don't think there's a predetermined, I mean, yeah, religious might try and give you these tenements on what to follow, which makes you a good person. But the whole thing I'm talking about, and that we were just talking about with Outwitting the Devil, is your own purpose, is finding your own.
So this is what I found most interesting about Outwitting the Devil. All right. And maybe it's a Kafka trap, and I'm going to try not to. Outwitting the Devil is essentially a book about being ambitious. Find your purpose, work tirelessly towards that goal. Being ambitious. That is how you outwit the devil. The devil is the devil because of ambition.
Right.
The devil is the fallen angel.
Yes.
Because he tried to rise to the level of God.
He wanted to be as powerful as God.
Ambition was his sin. And here we are in a book called Outwitting the Devil, where the devil's saying the only way to beat me is to be ambitious.
I think it's more than ambitious, but I think you're correct, and I'd say even the devil's a hypocrite.
The devil especially.
Everybody does some hypocritical shit.
And also now, Christians always think I'm shitting on them, even though I genuinely like being around Christians. I enjoy talking with Christians. I think Christians get a real bad rap, especially in mainstream media. I like the most 99% of the Christians I meet. But doesn't the devil kind of have a point? What did the devil do that really was so wrong? He wanted to rise to the level of God? Sure. Is aspiration a bad thing?
No, it don't. When we put it this way, it almost sounds like God's being a little. He's like, petty. I like to be, like being a little petty. Like he's like, I'm the guy at the top.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I love all you guys as long as you are below me and are respecting me.
And Ruslan, who I love Ruslan, and he's blowing up, and he did a phenomenal podcast with us when your back,
check that one out.
Your back was killing you, and I had the world's worst mustache.
Yeah. I had done 3 practices that day. Hadn't eaten.
And
we were hosting Ruslan.
Ruslan is crushing it, man. Big fans of his. Even though I don't agree with everything that he says or believes in, and he definitely doesn't agree with everything I say or believe in. But we're boys, and that's something I love, and that's something that I want to convey to the rest of the world. That it's okay. It's okay to, like, these discussions make us better. This isn't a hatred debate. It's a discussion. And I asked him about false idols, and I said, remember, I was like, my version, because his God is merciful, and and I said, the God I can't stand is Sky Cop. I already have a problem with authority here. I don't want Sky Cop, like hovering over us with a drone, like, hey, you touch that one part of your body you're not allowed to touch, and you eat meat on the one day you're not allowed to meet. And I'm like, hey, Sky Cop, why don't you give it a break, all right? I'm trying here. I'm doing the best I can, Sky Cop. How about, since you're watching, how about you turn on my metabolism, huh? What's going on? Put the levels up. Like, the idea of Sky Cop bothers me. And this idea of you should not put idols before me, and I understand his thing is like Malik, and you can't worship the devil, and this idea of all bad things in the world are the devil. Okay, I get it. And the Satanist stuff, weird. It seems counterintuitive to us. Like, some of this stuff, it's hard to tell where my own indoctrination ends.
Sure.
As to what's right and what's wrong. My Catholic upbringing and my Western upbringing, it's hard to tell, when I'm being biased and when I'm not. But some of some of these things, they just seem like common sense. All right, like, hey, don't do these bad things, right? Like, every religion at the end of the day is kind of a handbook. Like, this is how you should live your life.
That reminds me of another thing I liked from Unwitting the Devil. We talked a lot, or Outwitting the Devil.
Sure.
We talked a lot about how the school systems and things like that, like that, or the religious, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
CCDs, stuff like that, where they're almost like teaching you to memorize like facts that they're giving you.
Sure.
When instead he says it should really be flipped.
Yes.
Where the students are having their own thoughts and then are presenting their thoughts to the teacher.
Yep.
And the teacher should almost be the student, learning from the student, but then also helping them shape that and progress that.
Well, that's the idea of the Socratic method, right? Like they ask the questions. But I think we've covered this, and it's undeniable at this point. This really isn't an opinion, people. This is a fact. School is there to tell these kids what to think, not teach them how to think.
Right.
School is there to perpetuate the power of the state. The state is making an investment in these kids. Do you think the state doesn't want to get something out of it?
Sure.
Why do you think they
the
want
Russian soldier system?
Why
break
do you
them and make them follow orders?
Why do you think they want to put people in school earlier and keep them there later? Why? We have less jobs than ever. Robots are taking over everything.
Right.
We have less work for people. We're talking about getting people to a 4-day work week because there's not 5 days worth of work to do anymore for most people in most professions. What training do we need to do? Right? What are our kids not getting out of school with the current curriculum that we got to get them in a year earlier and keep them 4 years later?
Right.
The next generation is going to be a bunch of 30-year-old PhDs that don't know how to fucking do anything without a phone in their hand. And I know I sound like angry white guy fucking yelling at clouds right now, but that's the truth. Mm-hmm. And I'm no different. If my phone goes down, I don't know how to get home. How do I get home? I'm a babe in the woods.
Sure.
If my phone, if they shut off the phone tomorrow, I might be dead in a month. Can I eat food that's not been refrigerated for 3 weeks? We'll find out.
Yeah.
If the power goes off, what do we do? There's this idea, and I didn't really realize the difference between intellect and education and how convoluted they are.
It's tremendous.
Until I traveled the Midwest with Catfish Cooley, and people think Catfish is an idiot. He's the way he speaks, his accent, kind of the whole redneck vibe he throws out. That is one of the most brilliant motherfuckers I have ever been around. He is MacGyver. You give him an ice cube, a fucking a two-way radio, a pair of pliers, and some duct tape. He will make you a go-kart, and it'll work.
Okay.
He's brilliant. Now, he's not going to write you a dissertation on the fucking effect of race on the 1992
but only stupid
fucking...
people think that's the only sign of intelligence.
I don't think so.
You don't...
I disagree. I think credentialism is getting thrown around more than ever now. You have people... There was a woman in, I want to say Virginia, or no, might be here in Florida, where she was a teacher speaking at the Board of Education saying, why are we even listening to parents? Why do we even care what they think about education? I have a master's degree. Do the parents have a master's degree? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just my fucking children.
Right.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Master's degree. I didn't go to the Sorbonne. I don't know I'm not a culinary expert, but I can tell you when my pizza tastes like shit. This credentialism blows me out of the water because we have somewhere along the line, and probably by design, we have created a society where education is supposed to mean intellect. You go, so-and-so is on, so-and-so is on fucking Fox News, and it's like, well, they wrote this book, and they have these degrees, so you should listen to them. But like you said, there's C-grade doctors out there.
Sure.
But, I mean, in your business, right? Like, if you find somebody walking in there, swagged out in a blue belt, you're going to think, who's this guy? Credentialism. Mm-hmm. We're all prejudging. And not necessarily a bad thing. We got here by judging.
That's the Lord's work.
That's the Lord's work?
Yeah.
There he is. Sky Cop. What's going on, man?
Judging.
On a certain level, right? Not to be Mr. Negative, but negativity is good, right? Like, negativity is good on a certain level, right? Like, your positivity has been a bright spot in my life. I love having you around. Your positivity is fucking, it's magnetic. But also, my negativity is healthy. Maybe not to the level I do it, but also maybe I'm here because of negativity. My genetics.
I think skepticism could be healthy. I don't think negativity.
Somewhere along my genetics, there was a guy who was like, I think I hear something in the woods. And they're like, you always hear something in the woods. No, I feel like those are Vikings in the woods, guys. Nah, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go to another town, and then if it's not Vikings, I'll look like an asshole. That's fine. And then you look back and the whole town's burning. It's like, all right, it was Vikings.
Yeah.
That's
I can,
somewhere in my genetics for sure.
I can specifically tell you where in my genetics that is. That is my great-grandmother running away from the Nazis, leaving her entire family behind, and being the only person to survive. That is out there.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine that? And can you imagine? I can't even imagine the other members of your family talking to her like she was an idiot. Like, they're never going to do that. What have you been reading? What have you been listening to? These are our neighbors. Come on.
Yeah. So I think skepticism and following your own truth would be well better put to what your ancestor did than to just say negativity. Because I think negativity is like, oh, they're coming, we're fucked.
So that's so in your view, acknowledging a problem isn't
acknowledging a problem is important. There's absolutely problems, but then you got problem solving. So if he's like, all right, no one's leaving, I gotta go.
Got it.
I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
So
he made his own choices. So I think acknowledging problems,
the inactivity becomes the issue.
Yes, just the redundancy of perpetuating problems. Like, there's a problem with this, a problem with that, there's a problem with this.
Interesting.
That's pointless.
So you're kind of stoic in that regard. The stoic would say, don't complain ever. There's either something you can do something about or not. There's no reason to ever complain. If you have something to complain about, change it.
Yes.
If you can't change it, shut up. That's the stoic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where your mind is on this, is like, look, if you can make a change it. And if you can't, shut up about it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess so. I guess I fall more that way.
Do you try to go out of your way to find positives in a situation? Are you actively aware if something's negative and you try to make it a positive?
Like turn a bad into a good?
Sure.
Yeah, if possible, but I won't lie to myself. Like I won't put my head in the sand and just be like, nope, it's good. It's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's good that this is happening. But yeah, absolutely. I even during the lockdowns, I was like, yeah, this is not good. This is a problem. But what do we have now? You're given time where whatever you maybe want to do that you couldn't do because you had this, and this to do in the regular operating world, whatever pattern you fell into, for better or for worse, you had time to, all right, there's these books I wanted to read. There's this, could be sleep I wanted to catch up on. Whatever you know what I mean? Like this project that I'm excited about. I now have time to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess that's where the Napoleon Hill thing is good. It's like, hey, look, it gives people who don't feel like they have control of their situation a little pep to, like, hey, look, man.
We're the most powerful being on this earth. Humans.
Yeah, outside the water.
What do you mean?
The water.
But they don't manipulate their environment. You're talking like that, like dolphins are supposed to be smarter than us.
That's a fair point.
We're much more. We're so capable. We're more capable than we think.
A dolphin versus a nuclear submarine is probably not going to be a fair.
Exactly.
That's a fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dolphin. You think you're smart?
Yeah.
What do you think about this ICBM?
I'm smart.
I'm smart.
I could do flips.
And the killer whale, huh? Holy shit! Yeah. What do we got in the comments here, guys? This is I like this episode so far. This is pretty good. What do you got?
Yeah, we got
technical difficulties.
We got I will. We got two questions from Stephanie Wire. The one from before we didn't get to. Do you think religions die or just evolve? I think that's a very interesting question. The second one, also from Stephanie, to both of you. The question is, if you died tomorrow and were facing God, and God was like, all right, what was your purpose and how did you try to achieve it? What is your answer?
Well, for the sake of time, I'll answer the first one. You answer the second one. The first one is yes. I think that there's something hardwired in us for belief. I think no matter where you are.
I'm sorry. What was the first question by her exactly?
Do you think religion just keeps? Can anybody actually not be religious, or does it just evolve into another thing that they don't think is religion? Kind of, is religion always evolving into some other belief sect?
Okay.
Which I think is yes. I think people who say that they're not religious, they treat the government as God, and they have a
It just falls. They treat something else.
I think
they worship something else. So to speak.
I think it's a semantics argument. I think that we're hardwired for faith. I think we're hardwired for belief. I think hope is the essential human quality, because you can't have the awareness that we have. You can't have the sentience that we have that other animals don't have without having a hopefulness, because it would just be nonstop depression. So, and I think faith is hope when it comes down to it. I think it's a hope for a better tomorrow. It's a hope that this is this is, if I do things the way I'm supposed to do it, I'll be justly rewarded. My family will be safe. And I think for some people, that's religion as we know it today. I think for other people in the past, that was religion as they knew it then. And I think as science and these things evolve, many people have their faith in science and institutions in ways that our ancestors had faith in religious institutions, or even the emperor or deities, and so I think that we're hardwired for that. I think we're hardwired to believe in something bigger than ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean everybody. There's always anomalies. There's always people that are able to kind of step outside that matrix for sure. But I think by and large we're hardwired as a species for that. And as far as what I would be able to tell God my purpose was.
And reframe that second question too.
Well, if
you were to die tomorrow,
and you're sitting there facing God, would you tell him what was your purpose and did you achieve it?
Was that it?
Yeah, I think that was it, right, Omri?
Yeah, it's that. And if you didn't achieve it, then why did you fail? What did you do to try?
I needed more time. I think. So what you got one for that?
I think I didn't get it done. I didn't get it done. And
why?
What is it?
I could say mine while you're thinking if you like. I would say, mine. I've I believe in hard work. I think wanting to develop my own character and face adversity, face my fears, embrace hard things, to also inspire other people to do the same. Whether that's in whatever walk they're in. You know what I mean? To not be limited and feel limited by things that are cast upon us. That people are saying, "Oh, this is too hard. This is impossible. This, and this." I say, forget all that stuff. Your life is what you make it, and if it's just making someone feel happy on a personal interaction, or from in a fight, being able to inspire through there, and do hard stuff to develop myself as a man and my experiences in the world, and then to why I like doing this podcast is then be able to impart that, share that, and inspire others to believe themselves, face their fears, fight through adversity, and develop themselves to be the best version of themselves.
I think that's brilliantly put.
And I think if I was to die tomorrow, I'd be like, could have used more time to do a whole lot more good.
Yeah, I really feel that on many levels, man, where, on a very basic level, I come off as arrogant and all these things, but I really feel like if I can do it, you can do it. And if my life
one man can do it, there's no reason why any man can't do it.
Sure. And that's kind of what
anything you see any man do, another man can do.
I want my fellow people. I genuinely love humans. They're awesome. I've traveled this country up, down, east, west, mountains high, valleys low, sea to sea, and every place has been amazing, full of great people.
I feel like you were about to sing 3 songs there. Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley
I've been everywhere,
low.
Man. I've been everywhere,
sea to
man.
shining sea.
I want people, even though this may not seem like it, I want people to believe in their unlimited human potential. I want people to believe that they can do what they want to do. They don't need the shackles that the masters want to put on you. I want people to believe in themselves, believe in their neighbors, and live a life free and fulfilling. And if I can be some sort of inspiration to that, if I can put my career at risk and all these other things and speak truth to power and come out the other end. There's no reason that you ever have to feel coerced. Like you started the thing with what if these kids feel like they had to say that or get in trouble? I want to be the walking example of fuck those people. Say what you want to say, my man.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say.
Who's to get you in trouble?
That's
Get you
right.
In trouble with who?
And we'll
some other man?
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be easy, but we will figure it out.
Yeah.
Anything? Any final thoughts there, Mick?
Anything else from the chat that's important, Omri?
Not right now, no.
All right, guys. Hey, on behalf of Gas Digital and Ben Castro and Omri, I want to thank you guys for sticking through us through the technical difficulties here today. We'll make sure it never happens again. And for the great one, the one and only, the king of the ring, Slick Mick the Ruler, fantastic job today. I am Gerard Michaels. Please, if you like today's episode, tell people about it, share it. Thank you for our first million view video. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you guys so much. First of hopefully many million view videos. We will be back on Friday, 1 p.m. Use code SNT to watch for free. Take care.
Peace.